Rachel, my lovely wife, back again.
Back at it again.
Without any children.
Rare.
Free for a few hours thanks to grandparents and babysitting. Wonderful. So excited.
It's a big day.
So where have we been?
Traveling the world with our wee babes.
Nobody knows this because we haven't. We've just been posting the podcast as normal and my videos as normal, but that's because I schedule those things in advance.
Like a professional.
We haven't been here. We've been gone for a while now. Quite a while. 2 weeks?
It's a little over 2 weeks. Yeah. Plus all the planning and recovery. So it was really like we're out of commission for 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been quite a while. So we went to Europe because Texas is around 100 Fahrenheit, maybe 105 on a hotter day.
It's been even hotter than that sometimes with humidity. Like it's been like, feels like 110.
So very hot here. For our European friends, that's like Celsius 42, 43. Pretty darn toasty.
But August is always the worst month. Like
Yes.
August is the worst. You just have to live through it. July and August are the worst. And then it slowly gets cooler if you're lucky.
So my general philosophy in regards to August is don't take any weddings in August unless they are out of state and in a much cooler climate. Just don't take any weddings in Texas.
Really and honestly, like don't take weddings June, July, August, and the first half of September. If you're being real smart and if you're at that level, you just take those months off.
Take them off.
Unless they're out of state or, that's the whole thing's going to be indoors. And even if it's indoors, it's like, I have to move gear. And I'm trying to remember it was probably your sister's wedding, the last wedding we did where it was so hot outside.
2 weddings.
And we only did that out of an abundance of love. We would not have done that.
My sister was like, we're getting married in August. And I was like, okay, cool.
Abundance of
All
love.
right. We love you. We'll do it.
Was so sweaty.
It was very hot.
And our AC broke that first time.
Yes.
My car
air conditioner broke on my reliable Honda Fit. AC finally died on it. So made it to Dallas for the wedding with AC. Had to drive it back 5 hours without AC.
Thankfully didn't have the baby with us.
Yeah.
So we were fine, but still I was like, no.
Toasty.
No. So that's why we have this new philosophy. Well, it's not a new philosophy. It's just coming to fruition now. They were like, in the hot months, we should just leave. Where are we going to go?
Just get out of here. Okay,
at least
cool.
for this was 2 weeks, but I think our major goal is to do a month at a time and just leave.
Yeah. If I could go someplace for a month at a time just to get away, and I'm not saying I want to stay in some bougie hotel for a month. I'm fine. Let's get a cheapo Airbnb. I will cook all my own meals. I'll live just like I do at home. I'll record some YouTube videos. I just want to be in a cooler climate while I do it. Get me in a cabin in the mountains.
Yes. That's when there's a difference between vacationing and traveling.
Ah.
So I think Holly was talking about this on her travel page. She was talking about, you can explain.
No, our friends Holly and Luke, they're great. We filmed their wedding in 2020. And Holly plays the credit card game pretty hard. And
she's good with points and miles and traveling for cheap and stuff. And so their whole thing is there's a difference between traveling and vacationing. So when they travel a lot, but they don't vacation. So they stay at Airbnbs. They don't eat out when they're traveling. They take vacations too, but there's a distinct difference between vacationing and travel, which I had never really thought about. It was when all travel for me was a vacation because we like to eat out and we like to stay at nice places and all those things. Because for us, the food is a big part of our travel experience because we like to experience the culture that way and we just really enjoy food. But if we were going to go for a month at a time or more, and that's the dream, especially in the summer when the kids are off, it's that might not be sustainable for us to vacation for a month, but we can still experience traveling while abroad.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the goal eventually, is to get to the point where we are getting out for a month at a time.
Yeah.
But
so we're thinking about next year. This year we did a little over 2 weeks, and that was really great. We were just kind of testing the waters, I think, with our youngest because she's not even a year old yet. And it was just me and Matt and our toddler. I guess it's Leah. Toddler now, pre-K kid, and a like baby basically. It's like, can we do this alone? Because we hadn't taken a big trip. We'd taken a couple small trips with just us, but this was the first time we were like, okay, like, can we take a big trip with just our immediate family, no backup from friends or from grandparents, and be okay? And so we kind of tested the waters, and it worked really, really well.
Yeah, it was great. Really
so we
great.
booked it kind of last minute, didn't we? It was pretty, like, we booked it like what, 3 or 4 months out?
Yeah,
like
I'd
it was
say like
pretty
4 months out
yeah,
at
it was
most.
pretty last minute. We were like, oh, let's do something, and we had no idea. We need to get better about planning in advance.
I kind of like the short notice of it, because then I'm not thinking about it for like a year at a time. Like, oh, next year's going to be so great. And now I'm like, oh, only 4 months away. Cool. I'm excited. Let's get to 4 months.
Yeah.
Awesome. And it's a lot sooner. So
I think if
that's
we're going
nice.
to be smart about like using points and stuff, you either have to do it really last minute,
Yeah.
like even less last minute than 4 months, or you have to do it like a year and a half in advance, because that's like the sweet spot of like getting things for cheap.
Yeah. But in regards to how we are doing this trip and all, we had a decent amount of credit card points saved up.
Yeah.
And there was a good deal. I think it was KLM had
KLM had like a transfer bonus at the time where you can get a higher percentage of points when you transfer them to like KLM or Air France. And then they were also doing sales on top of it. So I think I was able to get, it was just basic economy. I don't exactly know what it was, but we were able to get really good deal from Austin to Amsterdam, because that's like the hub for KLM, with points, like really, really cheap. Like couple, I don't even know what it was.
40,000
It was like
points or
40,000
something like
points
that.
for all of us, or 45
for
or something
three
like that.
people to fly to Amsterdam.
Yeah. It
Really
was
not
like a
bad.
really good deal with the transfer bonus and everything. It might have been 50 once it all came out, but that's still really good.
And then flight back, we did points. We had to fly around to different places in Europe.
Yeah,
That
we
was
did
all.
hopper flights on cash, but they were pretty. No, we didn't. We took a hopper flight to Copenhagen, and we paid points for that.
Yeah.
That was on business class. I paid for the flight to London with cash, and then our flight back to the States from London was mostly on points, but we flew Virgin Atlantic, so it was kind of mid-class.
Virgin.
So it was like their business class, basically. We flew. It wasn't lay flat, but we were like, okay, we'll splurge for this.
They call it premium economy, but basically it's you get a bigger seat. It can
it's
recline
basically
more.
business.
You still have more room, which is nice. And because we had the baby, we also requested the bassinet seat, so you have like a bigger row with the room for bassinet.
It was a really nice experience for it not being lay flat, which we've never done. That was like really nice for the kids. Like I could fully extend my legs in those seats.
For a 10-hour flight. It was very nice, because another issue is like if you do lay flat seats and you like splurge for first class, which we've never done, but if you do that, you suddenly have to deal with like you're kind of in your own pod separated, and whenever you have little kids, they're not going to be separated from you, so that'd just be kind of awkward and difficult to like deal with that with our
and
kids.
there are some first class seats that have like two configurations where they're like right next to each other, so maybe if we did research and be like, oh, put me next to Leah and she'd be fine, but at this age having her completely contained isn't ideal. So this like in between was super nice, even though it was a little bit more expensive, but it was worth it in the end. But
a lot of points.
Yeah, going back, we didn't even talk about where we went. So we flew to Amsterdam, and we were in Amsterdam for 2 days?
3 days.
3 days?
Yeah.
We decided we loved Amsterdam. I've never been. I think, have we been through the airport?
I've been through the airport.
You've been I don't think I have.
Airport, no.
I didn't know anything about the Netherlands. You think about all the things that you think of when you think about about Amsterdam, about all the things that are illegal there.
I told one of my friends, I'm like, yeah, we love Amsterdam. And they're like, is it because of the legal prostitution and drugs? And I was like, no, actually, not at all. I didn't actually see or experience any of that.
Yeah, we smelled some weed, but
that's
like,
anywhere. In America, too.
In Europe, it's like you either smelling weird weed all the time or cigarette smoke. And I like the smell of weed more. Not that I've ever done either of those things, but one is a little bit more floral than the other one. So it was like not a big deal. It's like, oh, you want cigarette smoke or weed? Like they're interchangeable. So
sorry, I got to take a sparkling water break here. Oh, not
that
much
wasn't
carbonation.
very satisfying.
My carbonation thing for my soda stream's almost out. I ordered another bottle, so it's just barely carbonated. It's kind of sad.
Sad day. But yeah, so we went to Amsterdam. We really enjoyed it. We were like nice and fresh. We stayed at a nice hotel with our fancy status, which we like, or we like our lounges, our Marriotts. And that's really nice for the kids because you wake up and it's like, oh, there's food all the time. I think that would be hard if we were in a hotel where we didn't have somewhat free food of like, oh, this kid's hungry right now.
But we also took it was a nonstop flight from Texas to Amsterdam, but it took off at like 6 p.m.
It was kind of a red eye.
It was overnight, but it was only a 10-hour flight, like 9.5 hours. And then you land at 10:30 a.m. in Amsterdam. And
your body's so confused.
I was so tired. We were both so tired, but neither of our kids wanted to sleep. Leah just wanted to watch TV on her this screen on the airplane because she loved it so much.
Maybe like 45 minutes. Otherwise, she was like, I need to watch television. They're letting me watch as much television as I can. I have to do it.
And we kept being like, you need to lay down and sleep. And she's like, no.
So
and
she would try. And then she'd like, Mommy, I don't need to sleep. She'd sleep for like 3 minutes. She's like, I don't need to sleep. And I was like, well, okay, then just watch more show.
All right. So she did that. And then Iris slept on me. So Iris slept great. The issue was that just a sweaty baby on you for 6 hours.
But Kaylin was nice and they gave us an extra seat. So there were 3 paid seats because we didn't pay for a seat for Iris. And they gave us 4, which saved us. And it wasn't an ideal time. Like looking back, we should have done, but I just got such a good deal on that flight that it ended up being okay. I think if we would have had 3 seats instead of 4, it would have been a different experience. But it was okay. We were just so tired when we got in. So we got in, slept.
We landed at 10:30.
They tell you not to sleep, but when you have children,
we napped. We napped for a few hours.
We're going to be there for 2 weeks. I'm not upset about losing half a day.
And then the kids, we got to bed at like 7 p.m. finally with the kids in Amsterdam. And then
Did we get Indian food that night? Was that the first night?
Yeah, we got Indian food.
We were going strong. We were
Very
like started strong. We're
so
like,
good.
we need some type of Asian because we just do not experience good Asian food here in the small town in Texas. Like there's great Asian food in Texas in the bigger cities, but we're in a small town where there's none of pretty much any variety. So we're like, we need to eat Asian food, something like some type of variety. So we went and got Indian food.
Loved it. Fantastic.
And it was really good. It was like this little tiny place, good reviews, pretty close to the hotel.
I told them I wanted mine hot. They're like, you really want hot? I'm like, yeah, I want hot. I'll try it.
I don't think they gave you hot. I was looking at the looks that they were giving you, and they're like,
this white guy. He shouldn't have.
I don't believe him at all. I think that they gave you not hot. I think they lied to you because it was not that hot.
It was good.
It was good, but it was not hot.
But I could have taken more heat. Just
like
put it that
you
way.
could have put twice as much heat in that. Like I think that they lied to you, or I don't know.
Maybe. It's okay.
It was still delicious and a fantastic experience, and they accommodated our children even though they were wild.
It was wonderful.
And Leah ate some. Like Leah's very adventurous. She's doing great.
And then I remember the kids woke up at
the next day?
The next morning at 2 a.m.
Yes, because they were
like,
jet lagged.
It's morning time because it's 6 hours ahead in Europe. So for them, or 6 hours, am I crazy? Am I losing it here?
It was 6 hours. Yeah, ahead.
Yeah, 6 hours ahead. So to them, they were like, "Oh, is it time to get up? We're going to do stuff." And we're like, "No, you need to go to bed. It's bedtime. Go back to sleep."
So I woke up with them for 2 hours?
Yeah, it's like 2 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Yeah, we just like played and they sat in my bed and I got out some toys and we tried to be quiet because Daddy was like right next to us sleeping. Because the deal was that he was going to sleep and then I was going to sleep. And so I stayed up with the children and then he got up at 4 and they all fell back asleep because they were tired again. I was like, I got the short end of the stick.
You did.
We should have done an hour.
You did. So at that point, I literally held the babies for like 10 minutes.
And they fell asleep.
They fell asleep. And I'm like, oh, put them in bed. Okay,
but I was
night.
not. I just went back to bed and it was fine.
We all slept till about 7 or so.
Yeah. And then we had breakfast. Always breakfast. I love a European breakfast. There's something special about a European
And
breakfast.
then at that point, I remember that like I'd sweat so much on the plane because I had a baby on me the entire time.
And that plane was hot.
They had
like
not
I
turned
feel
on
like
temperature.
airplanes are either super cold or super hot and you never know how to dress.
I'd rather it be super cold because I
but
was
that
sweating.
plane was so warm.
So little
and there's
baby
people
on
with
me.
like sweaters on. I was like, these people.
I was pouring sweat the entire time, so I was chafing really bad getting off the plane. I was like, oh my gosh, it hurts to walk. Oh my goodness.
You never chafing.
I never
that was such
chafe.
a weird
with
thing.
a baby on me all night sweating.
Yeah.
I do though. So I had to like go to.
You had like a rash on your front too for a while.
I had all kinds of rashes.
Yeah, it was weird.
European rashes. Let me tell you, a travel rash. So I had to like go to whatever the equivalent of a Walgreens is
in Amsterdam.
walk around looking for baby powder, and everything's in a foreign language. So I'm like trying to read things, and I'm like,
You could have probably
where's
easily
that?
translated
Where's that?
baby powder
And
on your phone.
at that point, I had not figured out that I could use like Google Lens to translate pictures. So I was just kind of looking at stuff like, where is it? And I know it's not gonna be called baby powder, and so I had to like go ask an employee at this pharmacy, like, excuse me, hi, do you have baby powder? And they like looked at me, and then she's like, yeah, it's right over there. And I was like, well, thank
Obviously.
you. And I was like, can you tell me where it is over there? Because I like went and looked, and I was not seeing it.
I don't know if this is a language problem or just a map problem.
It was most likely a me
Because
problem.
it's in a bottle that looks exactly like baby powder and that wouldn't have anything else in it, and it was like pink with a little elephant on it.
So I literally like I'm that person that's gonna look at something, and if I don't see it initially, then I'm just not gonna see it. It's like I'm blind to it, even though it's right in front of me. So I had to go and ask this nice.
I think it was a map problem because literally yesterday you were looking for a toy in Leah's closet and you're like, I can't see it. And I was in the other room and I was like, it's right there. How can I see it better than you when you're like a foot away from it?
And then I found it and it was fine.
Yeah,
but
I think, but it's still funny.
my point is I had to ask this worker lady at
she
this
got annoyed
place,
at you.
and I was like, okay, can you like show me exactly where it is?
Clearly it's the baby.
She rolled her eyes at me. I was treated rudely on my first day in the country.
But
Oh,
otherwise
well.
they're very nice.
Yeah, she still showed me where it was, so it was fine.
She still-
and I paid, and I got my
Yes.
baby powder, and I was fine.
And you did much better
Healed.
after one day of use.
Healed.
And now we just have the Netherlands baby powder in the other room. Like, what do I do with this?
Yeah, then we got Denmark diapers from Denmark.
Yes, we did get some Denmark diapers.
Had to do some calculations on the weight of our child
She was a
from
different
pounds
size.
to kilograms.
She was a different size over there than she is over here.
Yeah, it's weird.
She's bigger.
But we then we hung out with Maru Films, Remy and Poyuk from
And their children,
Maru.
two
Yes,
girls.
they're sweet, so sweet. I'm like, Remy, what do you want to do? Let's hang out. And he's like, do you want to go on a pancake boat?
And I was skeptical, but I would tell you it is amazing.
I mean, you had me at pancake boat. Okay, you had me at boat, period. I love boats, but I was like, oh, a pancake boat? Yes.
The children were very into it.
I was very into it. Literally, it's called the Pancake Boat, and it's in Amsterdam, and you look Google Pancake Boat, you'll find it. And literally the entire premise is it's a 3-story boat, and you get on the middle story, and they have a restaurant that will serve you unlimited pancakes while the boat cruises up and down the river for like 75 minutes. And then you can sit up on the top and like have a nice view of everything going by. And then the bottom floor of the boat is a ball pit for the kids to play in. And they just open up this hatch, and there's this darkened dungeon-looking setup. It's not lit at all. And they're like, okay, there's balls down there. Your kids can
intentionally
play.
didn't look at the ball pit because I was like, I don't want my child to go down there. So I intentionally didn't look at it so I wouldn't ban her because she would have been heartbroken. So
Leah
I just didn't
loved
look at
it.
it. I'm sure she did.
She had a great time. There's a slide. She slide down like, woo, ball
I
pit.
don't
I'm
want to
like,
think what diseases she got.
when did y'all last clean this thing? Okay, whatever. Because they did make the
think they
children
can.
all wash their hands beforehand and wash their faces, because those kids all covered in syrup after eating pancakes, smearing it all over those balls
Yeah,
down
so
there.
they're making an effort. But it was fun. Like, we got a nice view of Amsterdam. I got to talk with my friends. I got to eat a savory and a sweet pancake. Leah got to play.
I think I had 4 pancakes. They were the
I
big
think I only
Dutch
had
baby
2.
pancakes. They were great.
It was really tasty, actually. It was
Powered
a fun
through.
experience. And so it was nice seeing them and catching up with them because it had been years since we saw them.
So highly recommend, if you are in Amsterdam, go on the pancake boat.
Yeah.
You're going to have a good time.
What else did we do in Amsterdam? We took a water taxi. Was it a water taxi?
It was just
Water
like
ferry.
a
It's
water
a ferry.
ferry. It was free.
It was a free,
great.
transportation through Amsterdam. They have lots of waterways, and so there's one side you have to take a little boat over, and we did that. And it was
just
so
get on the boat.
convenient. And I'm like, why don't we it just makes me question the city planning, and it just makes me question everything I know about an American city. Because I know we've been to a significant amount of cities in the United States, and I'm like, cities they're just so much more efficient. They're so much cleaner.
It was
it's so
very
much
clean.
safer.
Every European city was very clean. Sure, they still smelled like pee in different
some
corners,
parts for
but
sure.
really not as much as an American city.
Like,
If we're
I have
looking
no
at the pee
desire to
smell.
walk around downtown of most cities in the United States, but I'm like, this Europe, especially the Northern Europe cities, like super nice.
Very enjoyable.
Really enjoyed it. So we
Really
did a lot
liked
of
it.
walking in Amsterdam. We did a lot of walking everywhere, because that's our main preference when we travel. Like, we don't really do a lot of touristy things. We decided that we're not like, oh, I'm going to look up the touristy things in this town and do that. Like, it was just
We don't go on tours. We're not
we don't do
tour.
tours. Like,
people.
Or like I like art museums with the children, but like the children's kind of make it difficult for like that kind of like experience. Or going to super like busy. I don't like walking around like super busy streets. I was like, oh, this street's too busy. We need to go to a different street. That just doesn't. It just ruins my experience of trying to experience the city. So
Rachel's
I want to go.
not built for Times Square. Put it that way.
No. Like, that's not fun for me. Like I'll drive through it. Maybe if it's like it's never not busy in Times Square. So like I wanted to just experience the city, not crowded, not with a ton of people around. So we did quite a bit of walking in Amsterdam, well, every town we went to. And it was just really beautiful. Like there's like lots of like it was just really beautiful. Like the landscaping was really nice. Like everybody's walking or biking. There's not a ton of cars. It was just really beautiful.
You're not at risk in Amsterdam of getting hit by a car. You're getting hit by a bicyclist, because if you're not watching, they're coming cruising. You don't hear them. It's just right by.
I felt pretty safe. There wasn't like a ton of like pickpocketers or anything.
We were not mugged once in any of our European travels. Very enjoyable.
We're pretty careful about that kind of stuff, but I don't know. I just really enjoyed Amsterdam. I was like, I want to. These are one of the places that I was like, I would definitely come back. Like, I want to spend more time here. It was just really beautiful and nice. So Amsterdam was our first stop.
Great.
Then we took a KLM little hopper, to Copenhagen. That flight was fun because they gave us fancy food because we were flying. Nice. We bought points on business, and it was this tiny little plane. It was like It
was smaller than a 737.
Yeah, it was super tiny. Nice. So there's like no real benefit of flying business at all. But
it was the same cost. It was
like the same,
points,
almost the same amount of points. So I was like, eh. And they gave us like a fancy meal and an hour flight. But everybody got a meal. Like it's like the European airlines are just so much better than American Airlines, or any airlines in the whole world are better than the American Airlines.
And then we got to they held our baby for like
so I could eat my spinach salad, not spinach, shrimp salad, delicious. Yeah. Everybody else got a sandwich, but business class they gave us like a.
And the flight attendant was like,
Asian
"Do you want me to hold your baby while you eat your salad?"
And
I was
mousse.
Like, "Yes, actually, that would be wonderful. Take my child, cool."
Because we had a flight attendant for like the 6 people that were sitting in business class, so it was like 7 people.
So she just sat and talked to us and let us do that.
It was so nice. Fun. And then we landed in Copenhagen, and we were in Copenhagen for 2 days, and I had like pulled something in my neck.
Pushing the stroller.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm blaming the pushing of the stroller and checking vigorously back and forth to make sure I didn't get hit by a bicycle when we were in Amsterdam. So that like that first day in Copenhagen, I was just not feeling good. And so I didn't get to experience the city very much. We went and got some fancy sushi, I remember, and that was pretty fun experience.
Keep it on the Asian food trend, yeah.
Yes. I don't think it was as good as the Indian food we got, but I did like it, except for the drink I got tasted like soap. But I think that was supposed to taste like soap, so I don't think it was their fault.
I wanted to try, I think they call it smørrebrød. I'm probably just totally butchering the pronunciation there, but it's like open-faced sandwich with usually like jelly or meats or something like that. And I was like, sign me up for that. But they usually serve that at breakfast and didn't have it for breakfast any of the days we were there. I was like, dang it.
I think it's my neck's fault.
Yeah.
We would have adventured more.
So Rachel didn't do anything, but I ended up taking Leah to a theme park called Tivoli Gardens, which is, they say, was the inspiration for Disneyland.
Yeah, they say that Walt Disney like visited there because it's been there since.
It was 180 years old.
Yeah, so it's been there forever. And so Walt Disney went and he was like, we need something like this in the United States.
They say it was like the second or third oldest still operating theme park in the world.
So there's a lot of things that you look at Disneyland and be like, Walt Disney stole this from Denmark.
There was a lot of theming that I was like, oh, this is similar to Disney, but also it was very densely packed. Everything was very well manicured, and it also was just so built out that you could tell it'd been there for 180 years. Like they had really refined it, and it was a really enjoyable place to visit.
I'm really sad that I didn't get to go because that would have been totally my jam. But I really like theme parks and Disney and everything. But I just was feeling sick, and I was like, I just need to take care of myself or the rest of this trip because we were only like a fourth through the trip at that point. So I was like, I need to rest. So I spent that day resting with Iris in the hotel and overlooking the canal because we're in our hotel, and it was really nice. I had tea time in the lounge by myself with cake.
Had some tea and cake.
And this like lemon ginger lemonade thing. It was fancy.
Good times.
But the whole reason Copenhagen was nice. I feel like I didn't get to experience it. Like I didn't walk around a ton. I got to do the sushi, and then I like looked at the harbor and people jumping into the harbor, and then that was it. So I feel like I kind of cheated my Copenhagen experience, but from what I walked around, I didn't like it as much as Amsterdam. It felt like Amsterdam, just not as pretty.
Yeah, we also weren't in like the middle of town where we were in Copenhagen, so
away.
we were kind of missing out on some of the stuff that we experienced in Amsterdam because we were closer to everything.
Eccentric,
So
maybe we need to give Copenhagen another chance.
Yeah,
because I feel bad.
I would try Copenhagen again, definitely. But then while we were there, I had posted on my Instagram and my email list. If you're not on my email list, missing out on excitement here, you can go to get.whoismatt.com. Get on the email list. Shameless plug there. But if you do, then you'll be notified whenever I'm in your country. Like there was a few people we ended up meeting up with on this trip randomly. And we're in Copenhagen, and this guy, I think his name was Christian. I'm pretty sure. Unless I'm
you
crazy.
mess up his name.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure it is. But he reached out to me, sent me I think it was an email or a direct message on Instagram.
I think it was Instagram.
It's hard to remember which one was which because different people did different things. But he was like, "Hey, I live like really close to downtown Denmark, Copenhagen. Do you want to meet up?" And I was like, "Sure, okay." So like we literally left to Foley Gardens and he met us out in front of it. He had his camera, had his FX3, super nice guy. Talked to him for like a good hour, I'd say. We like walked around some and all. Really nice to just like meet somebody that, you know, has watched me on the internet from across the world. That was cool. And then we pretty much were like, "Oh crap, we got to get on our boat. We got to get out of here."
So you got back, and then the next day we boarded our Disney cruise. We're Disney cruise addicts now.
I don't know if I'd say that. We've been like 2 times. I'm not as crazy as some of those Disney people.
We've been 3 times.
Has it been 3 times now? Okay, 3 times.
And we have another one booked now.
We're not as crazy as those Disney people that I see on board that would have like, "We've been 3 times this year. I love it. Oh my gosh."
No, well, we've been 3. That was our 3rd one that we just went on. And we're going to do another one late next year with your parents, I think.
The nice thing is that for kids,
it's so
you don't have to drive around with them. They're not like in car seats. You're like, "You want to get on a boat?" And then we're just going to eat and look at pretty stuff and get off and walk around a little bit.
Like,
so it worked very well.
I really like them. It's not like, "Oh, this is the only vacation we do." Like, I feel like there's people that are like, "Oh, this is the only thing I do," which is fine. But we do really like it.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. So we did a Disney cruise. It was Copenhagen to Copenhagen, 7-night. And it had stops. So it was our first stop. First stop was in Kiel.
Kiel, Germany. Yeah.
So we experienced Kiel. What did we do? We got doner.
Got some doner kebab. You got to get doner kebab.
Yes, it was really delicious, actually. It wasn't the place you wanted to go to, but it ended up being really good.
It was just close to everything and had decent reviews.
And Leah was like starting to melt down. So like, "We're going there." And it was actually really tasty.
Very good.
And then we got some bubble tea. Boba.
We also got the spaghetti ice cream.
Which one did we get first?
We got spaghetti ice cream first.
Oh, yeah. So we had to experience spaghetti
Very
ice cream.
European. You got to get your ice cream. Looks like
they
spaghetti.
don't really have that much here.
We were talking to people and like, "They don't have that in America?" Like, no, that's not nearly as common,
but it's not, yeah.
Like, you go there, it's like every other place. Like, "You want some spaghetti ice cream? We got it." And you're like, okay.
Leah didn't really enjoy that it was, like, she was like, okay. She didn't really get the spaghetti-ness, but she just liked that it had cherries on it.
Yeah,
I just got her one with a lot of cherries, and she was like, oh, okay.
She was very happy.
I'm down for this.
But then we went to a really good boba tea place.
It was really good.
And there's like, I don't know. Explain my fixation.
Okay. So Matt does this thing where I call it a hyperfixation on one food item per trip. So depending on the location, he'll hyperfixate on one food and he'll get it like every day that we're there. So like when you're in New York, he eats a slice of a New York slice every day from different places, usually at least one slice.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like a snack. You get a little sliced pizza. It's just a snack while you're walking around.
Like different locations, it's different things.
Boston was like a lobster roll.
Yeah, Boston it was lobster. He'd have lobster or a lobster roll every day.
I wasn't paying for that either, Kay. That was being expensed, so I did not have, like, the client was paying for that. So I was like, I'm just going to keep eating lobster roll.
When we did like Paris and the last time we went to Paris, it was he had to have gelato every day.
Yeah.
And so it's just different things. When we're in Iceland, it's a hot dog every day.
Yeah.
So he just picks different things. It's really funny.
All the best hits now. I'm thinking through.
I feel like Matt goes through fads. Like he has fads when he talks about the way he speaks. Like if you pay attention to different seasons of Matt's life, he'll say catchphrases differently, and then they'll fade out of his vocabulary.
I get caught on something for like a year at a time or a few months at a time. and then I'd get burnt out. I'm like, why am I still
But
saying
he
that?
also does that with food, especially when we're on trips. It's very weird. So this trip, it was bubble tea boba, which was surprising. I thought it was going to be like gelato because whenever we're in Europe, it's like, oh, we got to get gelato.
I thought it would have been doner kebab too, because I love me some doner kebab.
But it ended up being bubble tea. And I think some of that is because there's only like one place in town that we have it here. It was easy to get because it was just like a drink. So we didn't have to like set aside our like whole of our plans. And also Leah really likes it, or discovered to really like it because she never really had it before.
The kid doesn't like the tapioca balls. So the tapioca balls are the best. She doesn't like them. She wants the fruity boba.
I like both. So you usually get your like basic orders. You get the brown sugar tapioca.
I'm a classic
bubble tea with a tapioca pearl, which
It's
is
like
like the chewy
getting
pearl.
the cheese pizza in
Yes.
New York. Okay, you got to get the classic, and then you judge everything based on the standard.
Yes, so that's Matt's life like motto for everything. And Leah likes fruit tea, so I would get her like either a black fruit tea or green fruit tea with popping boba, and that was her thing because they have the popping boba with like different flavors in it. And usually I would just share with her because she could never finish it. But I like both. But we got it pretty much every day that we could on this trip. We got a lot of boba, and it was really good. So we went and got boba, and we talked to the owners for a while, and they were really, really nice.
Yeah, really, really nice.
And so then we got back on the boat. But Kiel was super nice. It was a super cute little town. I really enjoyed walking around.
Yeah, super cute.
It was really cute.
And then we kept on. We went on to.
Was Fredericia next?
No, it was
Stockholm.
Stockholm.
Okay.
But it wasn't really Stockholm because the Disney cruise boat's too big to dock in Stockholm.
That one is. Yeah.
So it docks in Nynäshamn, I believe it's how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm butchering.
It's like
all
an
these
hour
names.
south by car.
An hour south of Stockholm.
So we docked there, and we considered going into the city, but with the kids and the car seats and everything, we're like, I don't know if this is worth it for the short amount of time that we actually have.
A bus and take
in
us an hour
Stockholm.
drive to Stockholm.
We didn't have a ton of time. So if we didn't have the kids, we probably would have done it. We would have gotten an Uber or rented like reservation on that bus thing. But we just decided to like explore the town. And there's like a cute little like ocean town there, like port town. Lots of boats and seafood. And so we just kind of walked around there.
Yeah,
and we met up with some people that
we had another interaction with some guys emailed me, two brothers. They emailed me and they were coming down. They were in Stockholm and like, hey, if you're coming to Stockholm, let us know. And I was like, well, I'm gonna be like an hour south if you want to drive down. So they drove down.
Super nice.
Brothers that used to like be monks in Costa Rica. Super cool. Great interaction with them. And they were like, hey, do you want to go get these smoked shrimp? And I was like, tell me more about the smoked shrimp, because I'm somebody, any food that's smoked,
You really
love
like smoked fish. Let's talk about another hyperfixation. When we were in Alaska, his hyperfixation was smoked salmon or smoked fish, because they do a lot of that there. And on the Disney boat, you can get it quite often. Like you can get it every meal pretty much because it's so plentiful. And so he would have it multiple times a day. And we had it. You had it a lot on this trip too.
Yeah. Nearly every meal I'd have smoked salmon.
Yeah, smoked fish is pretty prevalent. And so, yeah, another
Delicious.
hyperfixation.
But these guys were like, hey, there's this restaurant here in town. And a lot of people in Stockholm will drive down to this town just to get the smoked shrimp. So they've got this platter, and it was smoked shrimp, smoked fish. It's like a smoked salad that had like different fish in it.
Like little baby shrimp that were smoked, and then it was in like a salad-y situation, like celery and dill and mayonnaise and sour cream kind of a thing that you eat with bread. I liked that. And then it had like was it fish tail or fish collar?
Yeah, I think it was fish collar.
That was like smoked. That was pretty good too. I don't know what kind of fish it was. That had a smoked salmon. That had the smoked shrimp. It was just a little platter of everything.
It was fantastic. We ate nearly that entire plate.
Yeah, we just kind of shared it. Iris ate some bread. Leah ate potato chips.
Yeah, they had truffle potato chips
those
too. Those were really good. Yeah.
I really disliked the shrimp. They reminded me of. I really don't like smoked fish. Like I don't like smoked salmon. I just don't like the essence of it. Like I like salmon. It's fine.
One of our biggest relationship disagreements is
we disagree. Like we both like food, but our preferences on food is very different. Like we disagree on a lot of things. It's like, oh, pizza. Matt wants plain pizza. I want weird toppings. Like I want Brussels sprouts and goat cheese on my pizza. Super strange. Like I really like vegetables. Matt always craves meat. Like we just always have differences. Like I like dessert. You don't like dessert.
It's true.
I want to drink lemonade all the time. Like, it's just like we don't agree with our food. Like, we both like food. But I've completely lost my train. Oh, I didn't like the shrimp. Yeah, to me it tasted like when I was teaching, like, and you had like the crawfish in formaldehyde or the animals in formaldehyde. That's what I imagined it tastes like. Not that I've ever eaten dissection like animals before, but like that smell is what that tastes like to me.
See, and maybe I just like the taste of formaldehyde. Then I don't know.
You like the smell of gasoline, so you might.
I really might.
You're insane.
Love a good gasoline smell. Ugh, taking me back now. Oh,
disgusting. That's what it was. It was like that smell, formaldehyde gasoline in a shrimp.
Oh, it was so good. They
Apparently
were incredible.
The Swedish people like it.
Like, I think there came like a dozen of them or something like that.
Yeah,
I killed all those shrimp.
10.
It was so good.
Amazing.
I can see why the people drive down for it.
But the little smoked like shrimps in the salad was good, and the smoked salmon was fine. It was like a cooked smoked salmon. I like that, but yeah, I was not a huge fan. Those people are. Their Swedish friends are going to hear, and they're like, she hated it because I didn't tell them that it tasted
fine.
like
I loved it.
And
don't worry, I loved it. I will gladly go back and eat that anytime. And
different tastes.
And then we went on to like one of our favorite cities, I would say. Or no, wait, we went to Fredericia next. Didn't we
liked Fredericia. I was like, are we talking about Fredericia?
Denmark. That was really cute little town.
It was so cute. It was so tiny, and there was so much stuff for the kids to do in the street. Like there was like ping pong tables and like little wooden boats for the kids to play in just in the streets. Like they were encouraging loitering in the city center, which is so anti-American.
You would never see that in America.
No, it was so cute and they were so nice. What did we get there? Did we get boba there too?
No, we didn't get any boba. They didn't have any boba. We did get some gelato.
Oh, we got gelato. That's what we got.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then what was crazy about Fredericia though is it's a smaller town. And I noticed that whenever the boat docked, there was a few people coming up to the boat to like look at it, which it happens because it's a big boat. But whenever the boat was leaving, it was like the entire town came out to see us off. Like there was people dressed up in cosplay costumes and like period piece stuff from like the 1800s, 1700s. They were like
period pieces.
Cosplay. Yeah. I'm saying cosplay because that's what I think of. Like they were dressed up in that style. There was a band performing, like a marching band type situation. There was a
band in the street too playing.
There was probably 500 to 1,000 people that were all out just watching the boat leave. And I was like, this is so crazy. Why are there so many people out here? Like, I get that it's like a cruise ship, but this is like a cruise town, right? This happens all the time. No, apparently it doesn't. I looked up like the port schedule. You can look it up online for this town. And I think this might have been the largest cruise ship that had ever docked in
this tiny little town.
Their little town. So everybody's like, we got to go look at the big Disney boat. What?
Yeah. So the people like bringing their kids and they were just like watching the Disney boat leave.
It was pretty nuts. They did that.
It was cool though.
And then like, because normally they have like 1,000 people cruise ships or like 500 person cruise ships. This is like a 4,000 to 5,000 person cruise ship. So significantly larger. That's why it was like a big deal. I was like, wow, okay, cool.
Yeah. But the town was super cute. They had like a street fair and like musicians. Like, I was like, oh, this is like a big deal for us to be here. Like,
I don't know if I'd go back, but I would definitely go back to try to see Stockholm because I really want to see Stockholm.
You know, we didn't get to see it.
And I think we'd both definitely go back to Oslo.
Yeah, Oslo was next. We didn't really talk about that. So the next stop, which was like our last stop, other than like the sea days, was Oslo.
Norway.
And so you get to dock pretty close to city center. Like you're like right there, which is nice. And that day was the worst weather that we had. Like we were super lucky the rest of the trip that we had hardly any rain. Like we had some rain, and I think in Copenhagen, and like little sprinkle in Amsterdam, like just little, just like, oh, it's going to rain for nothing like 5 minutes. Like nothing that it was like even affected your plans. But that day that we were going into Norway, it was so wet, but we really wanted to experience it. So,
and it was a light rain whenever we got off the boat. It was not bad. Sprinkling. There was even moments where it was not raining.
Yeah. We're like, okay, we can do this. So we like decked out, like we got our rain jackets. We put our like long clothes on. We put like, Matt put his shoes on. They were like waterproof. We put Iris in. Most of the time she was in a carrier that Matt had on, and they wore my rain jacket because it was bigger and he could like zip her into it, and so she was pretty protected. And Leah had a rain jacket on, and we just went for it. And we got off, and it was a little drizzly, but nothing
Not bad.
bad. Like very much like, oh, I can just walk in this, and this is pleasant. And we got to see some beautiful building. Oslo was beautiful. It was like what I think of. This is what I've been calling it. It's like a city from a Disney movie. Like what you think of what a city would look like in a Disney movie. That's what it was. It was so clean, and there was just people like doing their business. And it was just...
I'm sure the Oslo locals, if they're listening, like, what are you talking about? No, it's a lame city. But like this, we really liked it. It was very pretty.
Like there's a lot of nice fountains. I don't know. It was just pretty.
Wanted to revisit.
I really enjoyed what I got to see, the little bit that I got to see. And what did we do? We just kind of wandered around and saw some like pretty fountains and like park areas.
A mile into the city, I'd say.
Yeah, just walking around. Like we really enjoyed walking around. We just like to walk around. So we were doing that.
The rain hit.
And it was kind of raining the whole time, but it got really hard. Really, 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 really hard. So we're like huddled under a tree, and there's pictures of us like
here we are.
Thumbs up, like we're living through this. And Leah's completely soaked, and Iris is completely soaked. So at that point, we were completely soaked, like to our underwear, in our shoes.
And I was like, do y'all want to keep going? And Rachel's
like, we're already wet.
I think we need to head back.
Yeah. So we got some boba because we were on our way to get some boba.
So we have to get boba tea, even if it's pouring rain. Like it was kind of on the way. It's like a little detour. Like
I was like, we need to do one thing before we're completely a mess. Because Iris is asleep at this point.
Yeah.
She's getting rained on and asleep. So we got ourselves some boba.
Delicious.
Had to do it.
Yep.
It was delicious. And it was still raining so bad. So we're like, I don't want these babies to be upset. Like if it was just me and Matt, I feel like we were already wet. We could have like trudged on, but I was like, Leah was not happy, and Iris had woken up at this point, and she's like, why am I so wet?
What is happening?
So we headed back, unfortunately, but it was so wet. Like I remember getting back on the boat because we had like 15 or 20 minute walk from there.
And it was through deep puddles. It was just everything was soaked.
Like I was going puddles, and it was like past my shoes puddles, and Leah's like, it was just so bad. And we're like, we get back on the boat, and there's people that, because we weren't out very long, like we were out for probably an hour and a half or two. And so there's people getting off the boat still that haven't gotten off yet. And there was this family with their young kids, because it's a Disney boat, so they're all like pretty young kids. And they're like, is it bad? And I'm like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I'm completely soaked down to my shoes. So, and I don't know if they went out or what, if they changed their mind.
They were zipping up.
I think they were doing it. I was just prepared.
Luck,
I'm not telling them not to, but I'm just like, just be prepared. Like, and we wanted to do it because we were only there for one day, and I'm glad that we did. But we got back on the boat, and I am dripping water. Like, there's a puddle of water in the stroller that Leah was sitting in. Like, 3 cups of water.
So wet.
Like, we're like, it was so bad. I grabbed like, they had like, Disney boat's great. They had like hot chocolate out for you and cookies when you get back on, and towels and like warm towels. And so they gave us all the things. I like grabbed like 7 towels and like threw it on everything because I was like, we're gonna need more towels. Went back to our room. We all like got all the wet clothes off of us, put the kids in the warm bath. But we had so many wet clothes, and we couldn't dry them because all of the dryers on the boat were taken because everybody did the same thing that we did. So we just had some wet clothes that we brought home with us. So we literally had the
clothes that we like sat out. We put them on the balcony for a day, and they still didn't dry. So then they made
I'm just not used to that, because you put clothes out here. Even if I put clothes out to dry, like I don't dry all my fancy stuff. I like just put them, I hang them up, and they'll dry. Even in my house, they'll dry in like 12 hours.
You don't hang them up.
I hang them on the table. Matt hates this about me.
One of our marriage struggles is our dining room table in our house
that we never use.
Rachel just uses it as her clothes drying
table.
Well,
you just use it as a place to put your packages.
Yeah, but at least packages makes a little more sense, I feel.
Why? I'm doing the laundry. That makes sense too.
I try to take the packages off. The packages aren't always there. The laundry is a perpetual thing. Because I always have
to do laundry.
So there's always just clothes drying on our dining room table or on our chairs.
Yeah.
And so I'm still working on Rachel. Like, Rachel, they have drying racks. We can get a drying rack.
If you buy me one, I'll use it.
We can mount it in the laundry room, and then the clothes will dry, and then you don't have to use this. And so we're working on it. That might be
you don't like it.
A later investment.
It's just because Matt's really good about doing like household chores. I'll say that about him. He's like great at cleaning and cooking.
You hear that?
Oh, he's really good.
Hear that, Mom?
Oh yeah, he's like changing the baby, like he does everything except for the laundry, and so he doesn't have anything to do with the laundry. So whenever I do the laundry, he's like, "Why are you doing it this way?"
I do all the dishes. I'm doing it.
You don't do all the dishes.
I do a big chunk of them.
You do a significant amount of the dishes.
So
and the breakfasts.
My point here is that these clothes were wet.
Yes, and they wouldn't dry. I'm not used to that. Like, and we put them outside, wouldn't dry. Put them in it was like days. I was like, these are gonna smell so bad, but we had no choice.
So Oslo, highly rated. We definitely want to go back and actually experience more of it. So at some point, we would like to do that.
So on the way back, we got back off the Disney boat, went back to Copenhagen. Got off went straight to the airport, and got on a flight to London, just a quick flight. Landed in London, went to our hotel. The hotel was really nice. I really liked that Westin. It was like Westin London City. It was really nice. Yeah. It was like in the business district, which might have not been ideal, but it was a nice hotel.
It was very walkable to a lot of cool stuff to see too.
Yeah, so I don't feel bad about it. London's just so big that if you're in any area, it's like there's just so many different districts.
And the touristy parts, like we could have been near Big Ben, but it would have been even more expensive. And I'm like, no,
I do not.
I'm fine.
And I really don't like being in the super touristy area. That's just not my vibe. Like I'm like, okay, but like we drove by it and there were just hundreds of people just swarming the streets. I was like, I've seen it. It's done. Don't need to take a picture of it. It's over. I just don't like being around that many people. Like it just doesn't feel like we like to walk around. We like to eat. We like to explore on our own. I don't want to do the touristy stuff. I just don't care.
So we walked around London. We got some boba tea.
We were there for 3 days.
We got some fish and chips from a pub because you got to do that. And I was kind of nervous. I'm like, oh, they going to let us kids in here? It's like a pub, right? We walk in like, you want a high chair?
Like
sure, sit
bar.
Over here. Have a good time. We're like, okay, thank you.
And it was really tasty. Like it was just
loved it.
A bar. Like it was so nice. We had a meat pie there too.
Gotta love good meat pie.
It was like ale and mushroom and steak. And we had minted peas and the tartar sauce was good. That's a big thing for me. It had like capers in it. It was a little horseradish, but it was still really good. And fried fish. Leah was thoroughly disgusted by it because the fish had skin on it.
And then we hung out with Russell Kent Nichols.
We do like Russell. Russell's great.
Who's one of the, I'm going to say,
he's the best.
In my opinion, the best wedding videographer in the UK.
Claimed.
Take that to the bank. Whenever we met him at this music bed retreat back in April, he said that he was rated like the top 30 in the UK. I'm like, I
can't even name
top 30. I can't name 3. Come on, man. Like, I think you're better than that because his work is really, really solid. Yeah. And then he apparently got rated again by another website or something like that. It's like, you're in the top 10. And he's like, I'm in the top 10 now. And I was like, Russell, like, who's making up these ratings? Like, what website is this? No. In my opinion, you're the best in the UK. So we're just putting you at the top now.
Just claim it.
Okay, you can just put that on your, like, I feel just as credible as one of those websites. So I say you're the best in the UK. You're the best in the UK now. He's like, okay,
spread
cool.
it around. It's the truth.
So just so you know, look up Russell Kent Nichols. His work is fantastic. I need to have him on the podcast soon because Homeboy shoots with a Ronin 4D. Yeah, there's people using that thing, and it's crazy the stuff he's making. So
yeah, but he was nice. He doesn't live in London proper, so he traveled to see us, and we took him. It was so nice of him to come and see us. We appreciated it.
Yeah, it was great fun.
And we took him to this place was good. This might have been my favorite thing that we did.
I knew you would like it. I knew you'd like it. Was
the revolving cheese restaurant.
And so whenever you say that, it conjures up like the thought of the entire restaurant revolving.
No, think revolver sushi. So sushi train.
Like sushi on a conveyor belt and you take the plates off.
People have seen that. People have done that, hopefully. It's like that, but just cheese plate. So think like cheese, like charcuterie, but heavily cheese focused with like cheese and then pairings that go with the cheese. And there's like 30 different kinds and they're all numbered on this train that's going by next to your table. And you look at the menu that they give you like, oh, that's number 1. What's number 1? Oh, do I want to eat that? And you like pick it up off the tray and then you're charged by plate.
And each plate's like 3 to 6 pounds.
Yeah, but it was all like UK specific cheese or
they
England.
Were all from the UK.
I don't know.
Yeah.
UK specific cheeses like from there with like really interesting accompaniments. Like you had like a cumin.
It was a pineapple had a truffle potato.
Like they all had a cheese. Most of the plates had a cheese and then an accompaniment that went with them. So like one of mine that I tried had like a Turkish delight. One of mine had like certain breads and like salamis that went with it. Like a ricotta had these like spiced
If we could
pork
go back, apparently
cherries.
like on Wednesdays they do like an all you can eat thing for a few hours, and
I'm
you just
like,
go
oh,
pay,
I'm
and we
doing
used to eat a lot
that.
of that. But we definitely spent, I think it was 105 pounds out the door on just
But
cheese.
didn't Russell pay for it?
Russell did pay
Oh,
for a good
why?
chunk of it.
We owe him
So
so much
thanks,
money.
buddy. Love you. You're great. Thanks for buying our. I
Copious
hesitate to
amounts of
call it a
cheese.
lunch because it was just so much cheese.
It was so good. I ate so much goat cheese because that's what I like.
was
I ordered a
very
goat
good.
cheese and walnut and honey grilled cheese also, just because they had it. I didn't even eat all of it. It was just really good.
So
And Leah really liked taking her job was like us telling her which one to get, and she took them off the train, and she did a great job. She didn't drop one. She was
if
awesome.
you like sushi and you like cheese and you want to combine the two of them
and gamify it a little bit.
that's where you got to go.
It was amazing.
I think it's just called like the cheese bar.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
It
was in like a food hall in London.
But look it up. There's like little cheese cruising around
And it
on the
was
train.
hot that day. That was like the hottest day that we had in Europe was that last day, that last full day we had in London. And, you know, hot for Europe. It was like an 81 or 82 or something. But we were walking around a ton because it was like 30-minute walk or 35-minute walk. And from our hotel, and it was hot. And they don't really do AC over there. That's the worst thing about Europe.
Because like in Texas, we live in air conditioning. The air conditioner is right here blowing on us
like our
right
entire
now.
life. Like our cars are heavily AC, our houses, every place you go to, because the people won't go.
It's too hot otherwise.
But we went into this like food hall, and if there was AC in there, it was like a fan.
But that was most of Europe. Aside from our hotel,
I'm glad our hotels, because
didn't have air conditioning, so you were just sweating. But
because they need AC so little, it wasn't.
And like
I don't know. I don't like it.
We're riding in Ubers, and then the Uber driver would have no AC on. It was like 80 degrees, and he's wearing a jacket, and I'm like, bro, are you not like dying right now? I'd be so
Is it because
sweaty.
they're so used to the cold that they like savor the warmth? Is that what
it might be that, because
I don't understand it, because
I was hot.
People in the airplane, remember they went on that first flight and we were saying we were so hot. There were people with blankets on. And I'm like, I am dying. Like, is it because of me? Is something wrong with me? I don't know. Because
my favorite thing was we met this couple on the flight back, and they were from London going on vacation to Austin, Texas.
Why would you go to Texas in August?
And I was like, wow, it's going to be hot. And they're like, yep, well, we're excited. And they're wearing like jeans and have jackets on. I was like, you're going to want to take those off like in the airport probably. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But they were super excited. And I'm like, you need to go to Buc-ee's. It's a gas station. It's really big.
They
you're going
didn't
to like
understand.
it. And they're like, okay. And so they're writing down like, we'll go to the gas station. And I'm like, listen, it's not just a gas station. You don't understand. It's amazing. So that was fun. That was really fun. But overall, very enjoyable trip.
I think our favorites. London was great. I liked the food. We went to like a really fancy Indian food place, which we didn't hit on in London. That was like our big like splurge meal, and it was a great experience. Like I really liked it. So we ate really well when we were in London, but it felt a lot like New York. Like London to me was like New York, but cleaner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because not that New York's pretty gross, but
less honking too.
yes, like less like agitated and less angry, cleaner New York, which is only good. Like it was an upgrade from New York. Not that but
there was no pizza though. It was tough. There was there was pizza, to be clear.
I'm sure, but it's not like
there wasn't
pizza bagels.
dollar slices on the corner waiting for me. So
London seemed very New Yorky.
yeah,
but I really enjoyed it. But I feel like if we had to choose our favorites, we really enjoyed Amsterdam and Oslo the most.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that we're like, we have to go back.
So if you live in Amsterdam or Oslo, maybe we'll see you sometime.
Yeah, because we're like, can we stay like a month at these places? I was looking at like long-term rentals or long-term Airbnbs in Oslo and Amsterdam. And I was surprised that they're more expensive in Amsterdam than they were in Oslo. I don't know why. But that might have just been where I was looking, but
Maybe.
I want to go back. So maybe we'll do that next summer. We're trying to figure out what we want to do next summer, because this was this summer. And so I'm trying to figure out all of our travels for next year and what we're going to do. So if you guys have any recommendations, I would love.
Let us know.
I don't know. I feel like we're just trying to make our bucket list of like, what do we want to do? And there's just so much to see that it's hard to be like, this is the hotel we want to stay at. This is the resort. Like there's too much. There's the countries we want to see.
There's a lot. There's a whole lot.
We're trying to deal with it.
So we'll figure it out.
And I do much of the planning, so Matt's much more of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of traveler, and so I have to do a lot of the planning. So I'm trying to figure out what we want to do.
We'll figure it out. Cool. Well, we're gonna go have some lunch now.
Okay.
See you later.
I didn't know that, but cool.
Bye.